Marvel Legends getting too expensive? That's something that's really been a debate recently. Over the past few years, we've seen prices go from $17.99 to $19.99, then $22, $25, and now they're up to $50 for a single figure. The thing is this though, does the value justify the cost? Are we actually getting better figures or are we just getting charged more for the same thing? In this video, I'll break down 5 pros and cons of these price hikes, and by the end, you can decide if Marvel Legends is still worth collecting. Stick around. Better accessories and sculpting. One of the biggest improvements that we've seen in Marvel Legends is the sculpting and the accessories. So of course this isn't for every figure, especially not the retro lines, but a lot more figures are coming with accessories than they used to. Figures like the Daredevil 3-pack or the new to be released Maximum Spider are all coming with multiple hands, head sculpts, and effect pieces. The Nick Fury 3-pack is also another 3-pack that comes with a lot. Marvel Legends hasn't really been pumping out accessories the way that they have been recently, so we should really be appreciative of that. The sculpting on the newer Marvel Legends is something that they've also been stepping it up on. I think Todd McFarlane usually takes the credit when it comes to sculpting, but Marvel Legends has really been knocking out some improvements. The classic brown suit Wolverine has been one of my favorite figures, and probably because he was one of the first figures I got in my collection. But taking a look at that head sculpt now, and I'm like, damn, this head sculpt really isn't the best. Then I take a look at a figure like X-Men 97 Wolverine, and the difference is clear. The head sculpt is popping, it's clear, it's detailed, and you can tell yourself like, yeah, this is really a step up. Better sculpts and accessories make it feel like you're not really getting the same figure over and over again. And for some of us who've been collecting for some time, that right there could be the difference between picking up the newer figure or just passing it and sticking with the figure that we already have. The prices are outpacing inflation. Let's just knock out the biggest elephant in the room real quick. The price hikes. 8 years ago, Marvel Legends was going for like $17.84 in Walmart or something like that. 5 years ago, they was going for $19.99. Today, we're seeing regular releases go for $24.99, $27.99, even $34.99. That new No Way Home Electro just came out and he's going for $40. And he reminds me a whole lot of the Francine Fry Electro that we just picked up for $24.99. He doesn't even have the Jamie Foxx likeness, so I'm trying to figure out what's justifying that price right there. Maximum Spider-Man is pushing the limit at $50 right now. Like, at what point is enough enough? And when is it going to become too much? Inflation is one thing, but these figures are going up at like triple the rate. I'm not the CEO of a company, so maybe my thinking is a little bit different. But whoever here ever drank an Arizona iced tea, or at least heard of it? I think we all have. The price for that iced tea just started recently changing, but that price has been the same since I was a teenager. I remember reading an interview with the CEO of the Arizona iced tea, and they asked him, how is it that you're able to keep your prices the same when everybody else's price seems to keep going higher? His answer was simple. He said, when the price goes up, I just eat it. So I make a little bit less. So maybe I don't take home 50 million. Maybe this year I take home 48 million. It's not the end of the world. Damn. Now that's an idea. Maybe the CEO just doesn't get a $50 million bonus at the end of the year. Maybe the bonus takes a hit instead of just raising prices or dropping quality. And then you talk to that guy about inflation and economics. I'm just saying. Improved technology. Another big upgrade that Hasbro's been working on is the articulation in their figures. Butterfly shoulders, hinged toes, and pinless joints are becoming the norm more and more every day. Anytime that we get better movement in our figures, it's gonna be a good thing. For the most part, Hasbro kind of leads the way in that area, like with the pinless joints. Hasbro has a higher level of expectation when it comes to certain things. So does that mean that it's in their purview to set the bar or move the bar when it comes to price? I don't know. It's up to us to determine that as customers. But at the very least, it's good to see improvements. Sometimes they do things that we like when we see an all-new body sculpt. And sometimes they do things that we hate, like when they came out with the plastic-free packaging. But one thing that we got to give them is that they keep their foot on the gas. At least they try to implement new things. Some people love HasLabs. Some people hate HasLabs. But at least we have the option of hopping in and out if we wanted to. A lot of other companies are not even in the space to try to even offer us a HasLab, even if they wanted to. At the very least, if the price is going to go up, at least we get to see some new things along the way. Deluxe pricing for standard figures. We really can't talk about pricing without bringing up the fact that a lot of these deluxe figures ain't feeling so deluxe anymore. I can't help but feel like a lot of these newer figures especially are starting to feel a whole lot like cash grabs. A deluxe figure used to go for like $29.99 or like $34.99. And we knew that was coming when it was like a Hulk figure because he has like a bigger body. A figure like Archangel would be a deluxe figure, and that's because of the size of his wings. And he himself was like a $30, $35 figure right there. The problem is, a deluxe figure today is starting at like $40, and those are more like standard figures they throwing at us, like Electro. With a straight face, they look at us and say Electro is a deluxe figure with one set of hands and some standard accessories. The deco is cool, but the price tag is crazy. Today, they call the Blob a deluxe figure, and he was going for like what, 50 when he came out? Let's not forget that we was getting the Blob for free as a builder figure before. $50 over something that we used to get for free or as a reward. Now they pushing deluxe figures to $60 with figures like Odin and Gamer vs. Venom. So what's up with that? I'm paying attention. So now deluxe figures are going to be $60 and standard figures are going to be like $40 and the maximum series lines is going for $50? That's where we're going with this? Because I'm not really interested in $40, $50, and $60 figures. I'm just not. Not at the Marvel Legend quality point anyway. If we're going that high for domestic figures, then all of a sudden, imports are looking like, well, I might as well. Another thing is, this is before tariffs or whatever that's going to do to the game. If you telling me it's going to be another 20% on top of that, then not for nothing, a lot of collectors are going to wind up either getting priced out or they're going to have to wind up slimming down on their collection. It is what it is. And if you're saying to yourself, well, it's okay, I'll just cherry pick and be more selective, then yeah, they made you slim down on your collecting. More character variety. So one thing that we have to admit that Hasbro is doing right is that they're giving us a lot of comic-based characters right now. For the past couple of years, we've been on a pretty good run, and Hasbro's been hitting a lot more than they've been missing. So just a couple of years ago, Marvel was doing horrible with the movies. Black Panther 2, the Marvels, movies like that. Those figures was not selling, and they was the ones that was setting off the I'll just wait for Ollie's and Ross movement. I want to say that since the beginning of 2024, Hasbro hasn't really had to back any of those whack movies. And they've been getting to concentrate on those nostalgic comic book characters that we all like. Once they hit us with that X-Men 9/7 wave, and then they came with that Spider-Man wave right behind it, they was on a roll. Then the Wolverine double packs, the Void wave, the Zabu wave, Ghost Rider, Iron Fist and Luke Cage, Secret Wars, you get the point. I feel like once they don't have to concentrate on movies that nobody really cares about, they get to really get to it and dig in the crates for us. That's always something positive to look forward to, because not for nothing, I don't even like MCU figures like that. If you told me right now that there was never gonna make another MCU figure ever, and there was only gonna make comic book based characters, I'll be fine with that. I know they got some people that really like MCU figures like that, but I'm not one of them. Besides my No Way Home section, all of my MCU figures make the bottom of my shelves. And in my X-Men vs. Avengers section, those are all mostly MCU-based Avengers that's getting bodied, reused parts. One thing that really frustrates me is that even with the price hikes, Hasbro is still using parts that they've been using for the longest. Like Hasbro really be getting their money back when it comes to tooling. They don't let nothing go to waste. A lot of these body molds have been around for a long time. It's one thing to burn a mold for a little while, but when we're pushing 10 years and you still got the same body mold, that's a problem. 2025 should be the year that they retire the Bucky Cap mold. That Sunfire body needs to see his number hanging in the rafters, and we can start with some all-new female body molds too. If they're gonna raise prices and blame it on whatever, I still feel like they gotta keep their foot on the gas and come out with new body molds and sculpts. They have been stepping it up with the details on the head sculpts, especially the unmasked ones, but I don't think that's enough. Every figure is going up in price, so every figure needs to step it up and justify that shelf space. At the end of the day, we're only going to get more picky as time goes on. So it's really going to get to the point where if it's not new, It's just gonna sit. I used to get 2 of every figure, but I done chopped that down. These days, it really has to be different because I'll let a lot of things pass me. Exclusives feel more premium. When it comes to exclusive packaging, Hasbro's been doing their thing. We've been seeing a lot of higher end figures from Marvel Legends, and even the things like the packaging have been going in a bunch of different directions. I don't really like the HasLab prices, but I do like a lot of the HasLabs that I see, even the ones that haven't gotten funded. I would have never thought that Marvel Legends would have pulled off a Galactus the way that they did. Marvel Legends already had a Galactus, but this one made it so that it's like night and day. Same thing with the Sentinel. There's nothing really wrong with the old one, and a lot of people were still displaying that in their collection, but the new one is lit. You can have both of them and still justify it. Hasbro even runs different lines, like the VHS lines or the Spider-Man animated series lines. They love dropping those retro callbacks right now too. It doesn't feel like you're getting the same thing, and sometimes it actually justifies getting a newer version of whatever they dropping, like that new Galactus. I've been looking at that Star Wars line for like the past 2 years, and it's been looking the same. I feel like that line is dead right there, and at least with Marvel Legends, they keep switching it up and giving us things to look forward to. Exclusives and scalping. So what really gets me hot about these days is how rare everything seems to be. I remember clearly when the toy aisle was always full and there was always something to pick from. There was never really a shortage, and if you looked around long enough, you was able to find whatever it was that you was trying to get. These sections keep getting smaller and smaller, and these prices keep getting higher and higher. Before, you just had to beat another collector. Now, we competing with bots, and figures are selling out minutes after they dropped, and everybody wants to be a reseller. And that's just for regular store releases. Cause once you jump into store exclusives, that's when it starts to really get funny. And all of a sudden, everything starts disappearing. Walmart exclusives and Target exclusives, those are the worst. Because most of the time, they never even make it to the shelf. And some of the time, they might not even make it to the store where you're at. The figure hasn't even come out yet, and somebody on Macari is selling it for $50. That's really what it's come to when it comes to collecting. And a lot of the fun that used to be there just isn't there anymore. A lot of the newer collectors might not really care about that because Amazon Prime is all they know. But I don't even like ordering figures. I like pulling up and seeing what it is I might come across, but it seems like that's a thing of the past. If you're not there the exact moment that that truck is unloaded, then most likely you hit. Like seriously, the whole store can be full, top to bottom. And as I'm walking to the back to get to the toy aisle, all of a sudden, I can see one gap in one shelf, like out of nowhere. And from halfway down the store, in my brain, I'm like, yo, I bet you that's the Marvel Legends and DC Multiverse section right there. That's the section that got that ball spot. That's really what it's come down to these days. And I don't really think that higher prices are going to help that. Frequent waves and releases. One of the good things that we cannot take away from Hasbro is that they are steady dropping a wave. Sometimes it's to the point where I get happy when they drop something that I really don't like because it frees me up and it gives me a break. So we really can't complain about that when it comes to Marvel Legends. Hasbro has us kind of spoiled when it comes to that. And they probably one of the only companies besides Mattel that can drop figures back to back the way that they do. The choices are there for us to pick from, so it's up to us if you want to jump in or not. And that's exactly what I do these days because, to be honest, I don't even pick up figures the way I used to. It's almost like the cheaper they were, the more I used to buy. I didn't even think about spending the same amount no more. Now I'm like, damn, $25? Now I don't want to buy anything. That's why I like collecting Legends, because it's not going to be too long that shelf is empty. Other brands offer better value. You keep raising the price and you either going to price out a lot of your customers or you're going to make your customers want to level up. Maximum Spider might be good for a one and done. But if they try to run with that as a line and have like a $75 maximum Hulk, then why wouldn't I just move up to collecting imports? The quality doesn't seem to justify the cost of the increase, and they hitting the line of where the figures are actually better quality for just about the same price or maybe a little bit more. We got to remember that we're all collectors, but we come from all different levels of collecting. Some of us have just started collecting, and some of us have been collecting for years. Some of us have a lot of disposable income, and some of us are just squeezing in a figure here and there. But at the end of the day, these figures were made for kids. kids are supposed to be looking at these figures. And not for nothing, I don't see none of these little kids running around with a job. When was the last time you bought your kid a $40 action figure or a $60 deluxe figure so he could bang it all around the house? You guys realize that kids have been priced out of something that was made for them. Now your kid wants a Spider-Man figure and you looking at the price like, nah, we're not getting ahead. We got to go to Family Dollar. I got you when we go to Family Dollar. That's what it's turned into. I don't know. I just thought about that. Like, there should be a law against that or something for these price hikes. So are Marvel Legends still worth it? I don't know. It's clear that Hasbro has improved in a lot of ways, from better articulation to better scopes and more character variety. But on the flip side, them prices are on a rocket. We getting body modes from 10 years ago, and the closer they get to import prices, the harder it is to justify buying what it is that they're putting out. For me, I think it comes down to being selective. If I feel like a figure is worth the price, then I don't mind spending whatever I think that figure is worth. But for a figure with a reused body and some new paint, I gotta let that pass, or I'm waiting for a sale. So what do you think? Are Marvel Legends getting too expensive, or are they still worth collecting? Let me know in the comments. And if you like videos like this, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Until next time, peace.